welcome to Never Seen It. This is a podcast where we watch movies that we haven't seen yet. My name is Trent. I'm here with Betsy.
I like movies.
We both like movies on this show. And Betsy, we have kind of stumbled into the hot summer portion of our podcast because we're just going to go to another brand new movie.
Why the hell not? We rarely do this. When was the last time we went to a brand new movie 2 weekends in a row?
I can't really think of one.
It's been a long time. That's all I know.
Especially in the summertime, because a lot of times the summer big blockbusters just don't appeal to us all that much. We certainly don't go 2 weekends in a row the week that they open.
Or it's like animated family movies where it's like the fourth installment and I didn't see the first three, so I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. But today, Betsy, we are going to go and see another semi-sequel.
It is a sequel. It is a continuation.
Yeah.
It's the trilogy. We're finishing it up, I think. Question mark.
Hopefully, at least for Hugh Jackman's sake, let the man retire.
Let him be skinny.
Claws.
Let him be skinny and eat cake.
Yes, Betsy, we are going to go and see Deadpool and Wolverine. It's not Deadpool 3.
Nope.
It's not any kind of X-Man thing relating to any of the other ones, but it is, but it isn't. I don't know.
So this one's going to be really unique because it is the first one that's technically a real MCU movie.
Right.
But neither of these characters at this point have been in the MCU played by these two guys in any capacity.
Yes, my understanding is this is the first introduction of the X-Man universe into the real MCU that isn't a part of a weird multiverse thing.
But it's also the multiverse stuff too.
Yeah, so I know there's going to be a big crossover here with a lot of not only the current MCU stuff, but I also know that there's going to be a lot of throwbacks to the old Fox movies from like way back in the day.
Yeah, we're talking, 24 years? The first movie, the X-Men movie came out in 2000, I think?
Exactly. So we're probably going to get some people coming in from the original X-Men trilogy plus the extra ones that came after. We're also going to get probably some people from the Logan movie. I've heard about that. And I think also some TV show stuff that maybe we haven't watched. I don't really know.
My approach to this is, having only watched Deadpool 2 the one time, and you can listen to that episode because we did an episode about it. We're basically doing whatever the fuck we want because he has a device. And now we are crossing over into the MCU and that organization that is in Loki that is like crossing the streams of the multiverse.
Yeah.
And keeping people in check. And it's just going to be whatever the fuck they want it to be. That's the sense I get from this movie. I don't think they're too concerned with a really complex, overly involved plot. They're just like, hey, we can fuck around now, so let's really go for it.
I feel like this movie is going to be, hey, remember that other movie you watched that was bad? Let's make fun of it together.
Well, that was the whole thing at the end of Deadpool 2, was he was like retconning his own story.
Yeah, X-Men Origins Wolverine, which I like that movie.
You have interesting opinions.
I really like that movie. I don't care what you think.
I like Danny Houston in that movie.
Yes,
I think he's good casting. The rest of it I could take or leave.
I don't care. I like that movie. What I didn't really like was The Wolverine, where he goes to Japan. I saw that movie once. I didn't care for it, and I never revisited it.
Well, let's talk about that, because you and I appreciate Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. We saw the original trilogy, and we have seen all of the standalone movies that he's been in, and we've seen 2 out of the 3 or 2 out of the 4, however many X-Men prequels there are, like Days of Future Past, which he's in. We've seen all of these, but for the most part, we see them once, and that's kind of it. Like, we've only watched Logan one time.
We haven't watched the most recent 2 X-Men movies.
The prequel movies. The prequel sequels.
Yeah, those, whatever the most recent 2 movies are.
But he's not in those, so I'm not talking about those. I'm talking the ones Hugh Jackman is in. And there was this big grand opus. He made Logan. People thought it was going to be nominated for Best Picture. It's like the best, most dramatic superhero movie we've ever had. And then he agrees to do this. many years after we thought he was definitely retired from
and
it.
of course, this is all to say he fucking died in Logan.
Sorry, guys, if you haven't watched Logan yet, spoiler alert.
If you're listening to this podcast, you have
We
seen
assume you've
Logan,
seen Logan.
for fuck's sake. Anyway, yeah, he's dead. So I'm really curious how they're going to handle that whole thing. My big question here is, which Wolverine, which Logan do they pull out? Which timeline is he being plucked out of and brought into the Deadpool that we know and love?
Is it X3 Wolverine? Is it one we've never met? Does it have nothing to do with anything and he's a brand new?
X3 Wolverine, he is very sad because he just killed the love of his life.
Listen,
because he had to.
Again, spoilers for the 20-year-old movie.
I don't care. We're talking about the X-Mans.
Well, that's going to be this entire episode. Let's just put that out there then.
Fine.
But yeah, it could also be just a Logan that we have not seen yet because, of course, the definitive thing in this one is he's wearing yellow and blue, which is more reminiscent of the original comic book.
Yeah.
The original cartoon from the 90s.
Yeah, which I understand that the X-Men 97 cartoon that just premiered within the past couple of months is really, really good. But
I have heard that.
I never watched any of those. When I was a kid, I saw it on TV and I thought there were just way too many names to learn and people to understand where the hell they're coming from and their powers. It was just too much.
I definitely watched the TV show when I was a kid, but I don't think I ever watched it so religiously that I absorbed much of it. Like, it was something my brothers watched, so I would put it on once in a while. I was more a Batman kid myself, or like Gargoyles. That's where I was.
And like I knew what a Wolverine was.
Sure.
I knew what some of those characters were, but I never really got into X-Men until the movies from the 2000s, which are good. I mean, we revisit those every so often. We have the entire collection except for those two that we haven't watched yet. And by most accounts, people say, yeah, you can probably skip them.
It's fine. And then as far as Deadpool, we've seen the first one a couple of times and we've seen the second one once. So weirdly, for a property we really enjoyed and appreciate, we're not even that enthusiastic about that. But we're excited about this crossover. I think because we know that these two guys like to fuck with each other in real life. They're really good friends.
This is like a decade in the making.
Yeah, this is something they probably joked about at length, and then they finally figured out a way to do it. So is it gonna be good? I have no idea. Is it gonna just be a fun time at the movie? I guess we'll find out.
I fully expect they're gonna be throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, and they don't care.
And we have not done a Marvel movie in a hot minute because Marvel's sort of fallen off the wagon.
Yeah.
So we'll see after we watch this what the repercussions of tiptoeing into this kind of MCU will be.
All right. With that, we're going to go back to the theater to watch Deadpool and Wolverine. We'll be right back. And we have returned. Betsy, I think of all the movies we have covered for this show, that we have gone to the theater to see, to cover for you fine folks, Betsy, I think this is the first movie where I had a really, really hard time not talking to you on the way back home.
Yeah, for you listeners who don't know how this works, we don't say a word to each other about the movie we just watched until we hit record.
That's the rule we put on ourselves just to not cannibalize the content. But I'll tell you what, holy shit, Betsy, Deadpool and Wolverine is what we just watched. And I don't know about you, but I think Thor Ragnarok has a run for its money here as far as the best MCU movie.
Trent, I have 3 words for you. Gratuitous fan service.
Yeah.
Now, before we leap into this, you should all by now have watched Deadpool and Wolverine. And if you have not, please understand, the fanboys of the internet are going to be outraged if we spoil things. But that's what we're here to do. So please, if you have not watched this movie, go away. Don't listen to this, because we're going to spoil the shit out of this insane movie.
And not only this movie, but we also already spoiled in the intro a bunch of other Marvel movies. So, be forewarned.
Strictly speaking, we only sort of spoiled Fox movies. We
Fox
didn't
movies,
actually.
those don't count.
Those don't count. It's different stuff. But yes, please understand that we will be talking in depth about every stupid fucking thing in this movie.
And there's a lot.
And I can see why there are people out there being like, this is the worst movie of the year. This is a stupid movie.
What?
I swear to God, there are people who do not like this movie. But I am not one of those people. This is just a dumb fucking ride for 2 hours for the sake of having fun. And this is the most fun I have had in a Marvel movie in fucking years, Trent.
Yeah.
Years.
And we have just been, and I mean, they talk about it in this fucking movie. We haven't had a really good Marvel movie that is in the MCU since about the Endgame times. The Spider-Man movie that came out right after that doesn't count. That's basically a Sony movie as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, we have spent the better part of the last, 3-4 years slowly integrating the Sony stuff and the Fox stuff.
Yeah.
And we got to give everybody their moment so we can close the door on the old chapter and open the door on the new one.
But the MCU has just been languishing with
God.
all of the TV shows that go nowhere, these other movies that don't tie into anything else and they haven't paid off, and they've been in development hell forever like Blade. And yeah, this is the first one I can honestly say is fucking perfect from beginning to end.
This movie is going to come out the gate swinging. By the time this episode comes out, it's already been out for a while.
Yep.
But this movie's going to make $1 billion in about 12 minutes because it's just fan service.
It's fun.
Just a big, stupid, fun Deadpool movie. And you and I, you again can go back and listen to the second Deadpool episode.
Mm-hmm.
We watched that one time before this, and it was okay.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was not the same thing as the first one. This one takes the idea of Deadpool from the comics, as I understand it, and just really kind of smashes down the fourth wall even more than he ever did in the first two. Like, he did it, but this one is calling out Marvel and Fox and Wolverine and X-Men and Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively
and just like
anything.
corporate mergers et al. It's all of it is on screen here and they let them do it. I think that's really what limited Deadpool in the first couple of movies. The first one is just introducing the character, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They talk about mainly the X-Men because technically Deadpool is from the X-Men universe, but it was owned by Fox, and it's a whole big thing that we don't have to deal with anymore. The second movie, he was hamstrung. They could not make the Deadpool movie that they really wanted to make because they can only bring in stuff that Fox owned, and nobody wanted that.
No, it was just their tiny little umbrella that they could say, you can have these people and those people and that character and this character, and it was fine. It was lacking something.
Yes.
This one, however, has fully embraced the nonsense of, I don't belong here, but fucking here I am.
They go balls to the wall all the way with whatever they've had pent up in their little writing brains. And I'll tell you this, Betsy, I would say the people who had the most fun out of all the people who made this movie are not the actors, are not the directors, not even the writers. No, it is the CG people, the CG artists who finally got to work on a rated R Marvel movie.
They got to put violence and blood and carnage and some disturbing imagery. When we are introduced to, technically, I guess, one of two villains in this piece with Cassandra Nova.
Yep.
And she does that thing with her fingers going into people's skulls. That is genuinely makes my skin crawl. It was really disturbing the way they were doing that. And to some extent, I feel like they did it practically once in a while. And then other times it's completely animated anytime it's moving.
Yeah, it's a mixed thing.
But shit like that, I've not seen in any of these kinds of movies. There's people getting their flesh ripped off. Like, we desecrate a corpse right out the gate. There's so much chaos in this movie, and it is a lot. And it is ridiculous. It is completely over the top. And you're either on board for that, or you're going to be like, what the fuck was the point of this movie? That is the point of this movie.
This movie is not for everybody. And I fully admit that. And I am not going to be here and say, okay, if you're a Marvel fan, you have to go and see Deadpool and Wolverine. No, this isn't for the MCU faithful. This movie is mainly for the people who have been there since the beginning with the first fucking X-Men, even back in 1998 with fucking Blade. This movie is for all you fuckers who stayed with Marvel. You supported it the entire way, whether it was a part of an MCU type thing or not. You just love these kinds of movies, and this movie's for you.
And you are gonna get the good, the bad, and the ugly all in this movie.
And they know that.
And they know that.
Some of these fucking movies are terrible. I'm an apologist for X-Men Origins Wolverine. We covered it in the intro. And the Wolverine I didn't really care for. But with everything, warts and all, this is their legacy. This is Hugh Jackman's legacy, if nothing else.
In a lot of ways, this feels more like a Wolverine movie. In a lot of ways, not exclusively. Like, it's definitely still a Deadpool movie.
It's at least an X-Men movie.
Yes, but they make it so much about Wolverine and his journey, where he has come from, how he got here. With the nonsense thrown in, we get the montage of many multiverse Wolverines, which we'll dive into later.
Yeah, and he gets the emotional moments
here. He gets an arc.
Yeah.
And if you've been here from the beginning and you've been watching Hugh Jackman, to know... Again, it's that meta thing. It's that fourth wall meta. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are friends. They have been friends for years. And they have both been in the fringes of touching each other's universes in the superhero world. And they've never done it. And they finally figured out a way to get these two guys on screen together.
Well,
and it is
for the entire movie. Because in X-Men Origins, Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool in that movie.
But fuck that. We'll talk.
Hey, it's true. Come on.
Okay, you're right. But there's so many layers that were unexpected in this, because you've got jokes about Wolverine and his arc in all of the other movies that have nothing to do with Deadpool. You have jokes about Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool in that version of Wolverine.
Yep.
You have jokes about Ryan Reynolds being in the Blade trilogy, which
That's
I
right.
kind of forgot
Yes.
about. And then, of course, fucking Blade. I'm going to hold on to that thought for a minute.
We'll get there.
So it's so many levels of jokes that they are making. But it does feel in a lot of ways like a culmination of Wolverine, of 25 years of this guy playing this character, which is really bizarre because we kind of said the same thing when we saw Logan. Everybody said it is the end of an era. It is old man Logan. He is going to have a resolution to the story. Everybody was like, this is an incredible movie. It's one of the best superhero movies ever made. It's a true rated R, masterpiece. And we were asking in the intro, how do you go from there? How do you possibly open that door again to this?
Yeah, and that was the thing that we had the biggest question mark behind. How the hell do they bring back Wolverine? Are they going to take a Wolverine from another universe, or are they somehow going to retcon the end of Logan and steal away the emotional moment and the arc that character had in that universe? Betsy, we got both. They did not take away the emotional arc. They did not retcon it, but they kind of did take the piss out of that entire thing. They got to have their cake and eat it too. Yeah.
Right. And I kind of figured it was a multiverse situation with the Logan that we're seeing on screen. I did not, however, expect them to explicitly start the movie by him saying the thing we've all been wondering. How are we going to address the fact that he died in the movie Logan? He is breaking the fourth wall and saying, don't worry, we're not going to ruin the sanctity of that movie. But at the same time, it's a shot of him digging up a corpse. And his theory, he's so confident that Wolverine isn't dead. He cannot die. So all he has to do is, dig him up from his prolonged hibernated state or whatever he's calling it underneath the ground where he is recovering.
He regenerates. It's fine. Just get him out in the open, get him some fresh air, and he'll be fine.
What I didn't expect was for him to bring up an adamantium skeleton. And then,
I am going to remember this scene, this entire sequence, this opening sequence of all the credits coming on screen with the adamantium skeleton and everything. I'm going to remember this scene at the end of the year when we do our awards, because God damn it, I think I laughed more in this scene than anything I have seen in the past, I don't know, 3 years since we've been doing this podcast. Oh my fucking God. I laughed so much.
If they're good at one thing with the Deadpool movies, it is the opening credits. Because
that's what they're famous for.
In the first one, you got that slow motion, zooming in, zooming out.
Yeah,
it's kind of freeze frame.
It's a CG thing of this car rolling around, and the camera is kind of freely moving throughout the car and seeing all these, jokes that they're just kind of throwing in there. That was impressive. That's what really sold a lot of people on the first Deadpool movie.
But then the second movie, they had Celine Dion sing an original song while someone dressed as Deadpool does an interpretive dance, and there's like James Bond style opening credits.
Honestly, I don't even remember it. I've only seen the Deadpool movie as many times as you, which is one. The sequel.
But it's the fact that it's Celine Dion singing this epic ballad. It's so stupid. And then this one, he is using the corpse of Wolverine to kick the shit out of a bunch of TVA agents to the tune of Bye Bye Bye.
But it's not just that.
NSYNC.
It's not just that.
And he's doing choreography.
The choreography from the Bye 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 music video. What?
It's the way it was like intercutting, where it was just like he's randomly dancing in the woods. Intersplice with really hyper violent graphic images of him ripping off each individual rib bone and stabbing people with leg bones and then detaching the adamantium claws and putting them on himself.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's how the movie starts.
Right, exactly. And I think that is what they are best at, like you said, introducing newcomers or whoever to this world and to this character. This is gonna be a fucking silly ride. And as long as you're okay with hyper violence, you're gonna have a great time. And we did. So before we move on here, we need to take a quick break for a word from our sponsor. We'll be right back. Recently I've been bored and feeling out of sorts. My normal podcasts just weren't cutting it anymore, so I talked to my doctor, and she recommended patreon.com/neverseenitpod, and now I feel better than ever.
Patreon.com/neverseenitpod is a once-weekly subscription podcast used to create joy. Side effects may include a sense of euphoria, aching muscles from smiling, and a dependence on the host's addictive personalities. Do not take this podcast if you are allergic to fun, have a history of laughing until you pee, or are afraid of a good time.
Talk to your doctor about patreon.com/neverseenitpod today. Betsy, if this movie really proves anything, it is the power of friendship and the budget of Disney can make magic happen. Because this movie should not exist.
Oh, no.
Hugh Jackman should not have put the suit on. He should not have come back and played this character yet again. He hung it up with Logan. He had his emotional arc, the end of the Wolverine story. He got to do it however many years ago with Logan.
And it ended well. It's not like it ended with a dud. It wasn't this sad whimper. It was a beautiful conclusion.
People fucking cried at the end of Logan. It was that good.
It was an epic, beautiful way to finish that story.
Yes. And I think they treat it well because not only do they have fun with the first opening scene here, but they also treat it with that reverence because when they're showing the footage of that movie in the TVA office, everybody's just kind of looking at it in awe
and shedding a tear.
Shedding a little tear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're having it both ways.
But I remember when they announced this movie and it was just a little teaser of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman's just in the background. He says,
of this house.
Hey, Hugh, do you want to play Wolverine again? He just goes, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, okay.
That was
nothing.
That was the whole thing. And that was what, a year and a half ago? It's been
More than
so long since they announced that.
Yeah.
And we've been waiting a long time.
They did it in such a great way. It went through all sorts of different tribulations because the fucking strike happened during production of this movie, which incidentally prevented Ryan Reynolds from doing any kind of improv. So unfortunately, we're probably not going to get a whole lot of behind the scenes and cut footage and like other versions of these scenes because he was required to follow the script as written.
It was vetted so he could be outlandish, but not go off scripts, not go off book.
Exactly.
You are allowed to be outlandish within reason.
And I wonder, when you have a situation like this, I wonder if maybe that made it better because maybe you had to be the professionals in the room and stick to the approved script as intended from the writer and the producers and everybody else.
Even though they are, again, breaking that wall and calling out the fact that they have an approved list of what they can and cannot do within the script of the movie.
They call it out here 2 or 3 times, like the one thing you're not allowed to do in a even though it's rated R in the Kevin Feige MCU and the Disney parameters, you cannot have cocaine on the screen.
Nope. And they have 45 different versions of what they call it. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot do that.
And I don't know whether or not they actually did it in the first couple of movies. I don't remember, but it doesn't really matter. I think it's just funny that they're talking about it and they're calling out Kevin Feige by name, which is just what Deadpool does, of course.
So working within the parameters of being in the MCU, it's funny how this felt exactly like a Marvel movie and completely nothing like a Marvel movie as we've seen it to date.
Betsy, this is a kind of a mix between the Spider-Verse movies, where you have all sorts of different versions of Spider-Man, all coming from their own thing, all coming with their own story, and lending a little bit of their own background to this one movie that where everybody kind of comes together. Same thing with that last Spider-Man movie that brought in all of the other Sony. I brought in Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. It's also the culmination of not just the Deadpool movies, but it's a culmination of all of the other Fox properties, all the other Fox movies, and they did it at the very end of the movie. They showed all that footage. It's like, honestly, it's kind of like Endgame as well. It is the culmination of everything. Even though you may not have planned it to happen this way, it's here. So to me, it is Spider-Verse crossed with an Endgame.
And yeah, it just does feel like that. It feels like we have the ability to do something that we haven't been able to do in the almost 20 years we've been putting out Marvel movies under the MCU umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
We can take these characters that we have tried to have projects for and they got scrapped, or we made projects for them and they didn't work, or we've been desperate to bring that character in, but it's been owned by somebody else forever, and we just now want to find a way to work it in before everything changes at Marvel and DC.
I feel like the reason why Disney bought 20th Century Fox is just for this fucking movie. I don't know how much they paid for it, but this movie is going to make a fuckload of money. And with all of those properties together, you can move on. You can recast everybody. Everybody had their little cameo. Everybody had their ability to come back and do it one more time, at least the people that they were able to afford anyway.
Or that they could find a reason to fit in.
Right. And yeah, I mean, this feels like not only an ending, but also a beginning.
Yeah, it's a weird vibe, but I get why it is. Like the fact that the movie end credits literally end with behind the scenes footage of all of the Fox versions of these movies. It's all the versions of Fantastic Four, and it's all the X-Men movies and the prequels, and it's, just everything for the last 20 years.
It is
Blade.
Daredevil. It's Blade. All of the Fox stuff from way back in the day is coming back. It's owned by Disney. It's owned by Marvel, finally.
And you can just say, thank you, blow a kiss,
right,
and wave goodbye as we recast all of you.
Right. We're going to pay tribute to what was in the past, but now we're coming over this way, and you're going to like it, goddammit.
Yeah, and again, I think depending on your point of view as a fan, if you have been somebody who's been watching Hugh Jackman in the X-Men movies or his standalone movies, or just the properties in general, as long as you and I have, you're going to feel one of two ways. You're either going to say, this is a fun, ridiculous way to officially introduce them to this universe, or you're going to say, fuck you all. You have diminished the sanctity of everything I grew up watching, and I don't understand it, and I don't have to like it.
You could also say, man, they should have recast Hugh Jackman a long time ago. He should have just been Wolverine the one time, or even just the 3 times. How many different versions of Fantastic Four are there going to be in our lifetimes? We always talk about how many fucking Batmen there have been in the past 30 years, for fuck's sake.
How many Batman have there been in the last 15?
I know. So the fact that Hugh Jackman has been this character for every single iteration of this character for 24 years, that's saying something. Not only about you as an actor, Hugh Jackman, but as the importance of the character itself.
What you have done for the character and the property.
Without Wolverine, there is no X-Men. There is no X-Men universe. He has made that character that much more important.
And without those comic book movies around the late 90s and early 2000s, we don't have the MCU.
Absolutely. So again, it is just a full circle moment here with this stupid ass fucking movie.
So I want to say one thing that was pointed out to me that I kind of forget about sometimes. The change in Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the last 24, almost 25 years. How he just sort of showed up for the movie in 1999, 2000, and he just looks like a guy.
Yeah.
And now he's in his 50s, and he is so ripped, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And they are playing it up. They really, really draw attention to it in this one because it's through the eyes of Deadpool, so it's accentuating how it's being filmed. But it's just the fact that when you look at those two guys next to each other, how is one of them in his 50s and one of them was 25 years ago?
We have gotten Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, with his shirt off in every single iteration of an X-Men movie.
It's in his contract. He must take his shirt off.
Yeah, that's in his rider. I need to have X amount of seconds shirtless on screen. Thank you very much. Even in the first one, I think it happened like 2 or 3 times.
Listen, if he's gonna put in the work now, and that dude's a fucking workhorse when he is doing these movies. He works out for hours to get that jacked.
And how much did he kind of fall off when he was doing his Greatest Showman stuff and all the other stuff that he was
Broadway.
doing? I'm sure he's kind of fallen off, but then Ryan Reynolds comes calling and say, hey guy, you better hit the weights again because you're going to have to take your shirt off again on screen. I'm requiring it.
Let the man rest. For God's sake. I do. So he does wear a shirt, or his uniform, I should say.
Yes.
The majority of the movie. And we really don't get that reveal until the very, very end. And there's that small possibility that it isn't Hugh Jackman because
I would not even entertain the possibility of that.
Listen, Trent, when his shirt was off, his face was covered. When his shirt was off, his face was covered.
No.
I'm just saying, there is a small window of possibility that he didn't work out that hard for this one.
I know that the good
it's not.
people at Marvel and all of their CG artists would probably walk out and quit
if they had to paint his six-pack abs.
If they had to fake Hugh Jackman's abs.
I'm not saying they had to fake it. I'm saying they had a body double.
No.
But I know Hugh Jackman. I know how he works, and I know that he goes the distance for this character.
I'm not entertaining this idea any longer.
Okay, I'm just pointing out. There is room for conspiracy here.
All right. So we've already talked all the way around this. We've barely talked about Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, and we're not going to because we're going to move on and talk about all of the other people that have shown up in this movie. Holy shit, Betsy. Holy shit. I knew about 2 of them. Okay. I knew about Jennifer Garner as Elektra. I knew about that going in. I just didn't know any kind of context as to why she's showing up. Is it going to be a weird flashback? Is it going to be footage? I had no idea she was going to be a character and be playing Elektra. I also knew about the kid from Logan being all grown up and in this movie.
Well, I remember a week ago when they dropped the final trailer, people on the internet were pissed and they were saying, don't watch the trailer, don't watch the trailer.
Yeah,
they just put a big spoiler.
Yeah.
And I actively avoided it.
Yeah, and I did too. I did not watch that trailer, but because, hey, I'm online a lot.
You can't avoid it.
I can't avoid everything. And sure enough, I saw a reference to whatever her number is, X23.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that she was going to be in this, and, you know, I talked about it in other episodes. I don't get all butthurt about spoilers. I don't care. In context of the movie, if I'm seeing it right away, I'm going to let the movie kind of wash over me and still have the same reaction.
So I didn't know anybody who was going to be in this other than the fact that they said, don't watch this trailer. But I didn't know what that meant. I didn't explore it. Now, the first person who shows up is actually Chris Evans.
Yeah.
So Chris Evans is here, and you see kind of a blue sleeve, and your brain goes, it's Captain America, because it's the MCU, and it's the multiverse, etc. And you got really fucking excited because you knew what was about to happen about a second before I did.
I just said to Betsy in the theater, he's Johnny Storm. He's Johnny Storm.
Did you know that? Had you heard anything about this?
No, I put it together right there in front of me.
Yeah, because Deadpool says he's gonna say the thing, and at the same time he yells Avengers Assemble, Johnny Storm comes out and yells Flame on.
Flame on, baby.
So it's gonna be a small sidetrack here where we have to talk about these movies individually as it pertains to each of these characters, because that's the whole point of them being in this movie, is to put a little button on stuff that's unresolved from 5 and 10 and 20 years ago. So I saw the first Fantastic Four. I have not seen the entirety of the second one that Chris Evans is in.
Okay.
I think the first one kind of sucks. I don't think it's a good movie. I think a lot of people appreciate it, but it's not one I've ever been that invested in. I think it's really some of the worst that they were putting out at that time as far as like cheesy and dialogue and effects. I just don't think it's very good. Is it the worst movie I've ever seen? No, but I'm not that big a fan.
I, on the other hand, have seen both movies, and I appreciate them a little bit more than you. I would agree. They're not high art. They are entertaining fluff that is very formulaic and just happens to have some pretty good actors in it that make it bearable. That's my opinion. Silver Surfer is hot garbage, but I mean, I think I've seen it, 3-4 times? I like it. Kinda.
Well, I started to watch it. I think it was one I picked up from the library, which meant that the disc was scratched to hell.
Yeah, I remember you saying this. Yeah.
I got so frustrated trying to clean it and skip ahead, and I was missing things, and I just gave up. And I've just never gone back because I wasn't really enjoying it in the first place. But when he shows up in this movie, of course, we now have 13 years of we see Chris Evans in a Marvel movie and our brain goes somewhere very, very different. And he is a sick little bastard in this movie. And it was fucking hysterical. I was literally bouncing in my seat when he goes flying up in the air. And of course, he's fighting up against original actors from the original X-Men movie.
Yeah, we got fucking the Fireman, Pyro. We got Sabretooth, the same actors. And I didn't get a really good look at Toad, but you know who Toad is, right?
No.
He's the guy who plays Darth Maul.
He's Ray Parker?
Yes! The original Toad is Ray Parker.
No, didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did not know that. And considering he's a stuntman and he's still working, I'm not going to rule out that was him. They didn't really show him, though, so I'm going to say maybe it wasn't. They didn't
really show his face all that closely. He's not a pivotal part of this entire movie, but yeah, that was him.
And then, of course, Sabretooth, he's a guy that we've been waiting. Again, there's this moment here. This entire sequence is, let's just get it out of the way now. All you horny comic book boys, all your fantasies are about to come true. That fight you were hoping for in X-Men that you never got, we're giving it to you now. And it's over in half a second.
Yeah, because in the first X-Men movie, Sabretooth is out there trying to find Rogue, and I think she gets saved by Wolverine or something like that. I haven't seen that movie forever.
It's been a hot minute.
But yeah, those two.
But I suspect we're going to watch it soon now that we're talking about it.
Yeah, those two people get to fight for the first time in that movie, and here you go, you fucking comic book nerds. This is your payoff. Which, by the way, speaking of the first movie, when Deadpool actually finds this Wolverine, he goes to the bar from the first movie
From X-Men.
From the first X-Men, where Wolverine is hanging out drinking, and the bartender, I believe, is the same actor from that first movie.
Well, I know it's the same dialogue. I've definitely heard him say those lines before.
Yes.
So yeah, there's this weird part of my brain that's being accessed and doesn't know. It's that deja vu thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only difference is there's no like fighting cage in the middle of the room.
No fight night, no rogue, etc. And we don't find out why until later.
Right.
But we must keep moving because there's so much to cover, and this episode's going to be 4 hours long if we don't. So when they get to this place with this group of ruffians, we're introduced to one of two villains who is Cassandra Nova.
It's not Casanova Frankenstein.
It's not Casanova
That's a different
Frankenstein.
comic book movie.
Played by Emma Corrin, and they are Charles Xavier's twin. And I don't know if this is like a thing from the comic books or something
sure
they invented for the sake of the multiverse. But they're good. But it takes so long to get here. And I could see the complaint about this because we've already been introduced to Matthew McFadden as Paradox. And he's explaining, oh, the world is going to end. And then we meet Cassandra Nova. And they're this villain in the void, that in-between place from the Loki TV show, whatever they call that thing.
Yeah.
So we're kind of being introduced to two separate things, and this entire section in the middle is just excuses to bring characters in.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a whole lot of plot to this. So they're just saying, I could send you home, but I don't want to. Peace out.
Right, and like talking about plot, before the movie started to play in the theater, I looked up on my phone one of those articles telling you, okay, these are the things that you actually need to kind of rewatch or revisit.
Remember.
Or maybe find out some things that maybe you haven't watched that you absolutely need to watch. Of course, at this point, I'm already in the theater, so it's too late to do anything about it. But thankfully, looking at everything, we've watched everything that we've needed to do, except for, I think, Loki season 2. I have no idea if this guy is in season 2 at all.
I don't think he is, because they sort of set him up in this as he's got his own little division, like he's a subdivision, his area that he is responsible for.
Which is a good thing, because if he was from that show, then they set him up for this movie just to get rid of him. If he's just for this movie, then you can introduce him and get rid of him at the same time. Same thing with Cassandra.
Yeah, so he's kind of the villain, but then they're also the villain. So it's a whole thing. And it's, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. There's not a lot of meat on these bones, but that's not the point of the movie.
You just have to have some kind of heavy here.
Yeah, and surrounding Cassandra, you've got that devil guy from the First Class movie.
Yep.
You've got, what the hell's the guy that Vinnie Jones played? I already forgot his name.
He's the Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut. Different actor, same character. Who else was there? Were there other people that you recognized?
No, not in that group. But obviously they are in, like, their lair is the hollowed out body of an Ant-Man.
Yeah, a jumbo Ant-Man that died.
Yeah.
And now they live inside him.
Yeah. Which I did like the joke, even though he was in the trailer. Ryan Reynolds says, oh, Paul Rudd, he did age.
He finally aged.
That's a good joke.
Yeah, it's this very brief scene to set up this extra villain who apparently has the power to get us out of this place anytime they want to, but they don't want to. They love living in this chaos. And they kill Johnny Storm in a really horrific way, snapping fingers and ripping off flesh.
Making the skin just disappear.
Yeah, that was really graphic.
Oh, boy.
And not what you expect to see happen to Chris Evans in these movies.
Which, of course, they pointed out here, saying something about, hey, yeah, he needed to go anyway. He was just bleeding our budget dry, because his rate to be in the movie is, I'm sure, catastrophic to a budget.
But this is basically establishing that most of the people in this group are X-Men characters. Pretty much everybody around the villain here is X-Men. And they make a heroic escape, and they start running into other versions of Deadpool, specifically Nice Pool.
Nice Pool and Dog Pool.
So we've got Ryan Reynolds in dual roles with long, luxurious locks.
Being very Canadian.
Very Canadian. And at this point, Nice Pool decides to help them by introducing them to his Honda Odyssey. And listeners, I hope that you all think of me when you watch Deadpool and Wolverine, because he calls her old Betsy. And you and I both looked at each other.
Of course.
Because when I say, most of the time in media, when I hear the word Betsy, it is referencing something. It is not a person.
Object.
It is usually a vehicle, or like in the old Robin Hood cartoon, it's a crossbow.
Right.
People name things Old Betsy. So, of course, I just had to make sure I mentioned that, you know, you could think of me now every time you watch this movie.
Of course.
Forever and ever.
Yeah, and this is kind of an important thing here, because Wolverine, like, we've had the entire way of this movie, Wolverine is having a hard time. He's really down about what happened in his universe, and he has nothing. He has nothing. He says it himself. And he sizes up this Deadpool dead to rights, and he tells him to his face, I've been alive for hundreds of years. I've seen all this stuff. I've met so many people, and you, Deadpool, are the most annoying, worst person I've ever met in my life. And that cuts to the fucking bone.
And then we get a fight scene, because that's this whole movie. The whole point is to watch these two fight a bunch. We already got one, now we're getting another one. And they go on for so long, and they're so over the top.
Yeah, and I feel like they did this thing because of the good response they had to the intro of the first Deadpool, where it is a completely CGI thing of this camera kind of going all around the vehicle when it's rolling around. In this case, I feel like there's a lot of real stunts happening here in this vehicle that is really impressive.
It's great fight choreography.
It very much is.
You are in a confined space. You have available to you whatever's in this car.
Right. So go nuts. Like, you have all of the glass to break in all of the different windows. You got what, like 6, 8 windows to break?
There's a sunroof. There's a dash that you can, change the stereo on. There's going to be motion to the seat. There's a lot of seat belts.
Yeah. By the end, Deadpool is completely tied up in seatbelts, and I think that's one of the best visuals in the entire
They're just
movie.
Sleeping in the car because they kick the shit out of each other for hours.
They're like little boys who get wore out after they're playing all day.
Yes. So again, I could see this being a complaint, because this goes on for a long time for really no reason other than fan service. But I don't really give a shit, because it was funny and I enjoyed it. And it segues nicely into, let's introduce a whole bunch more characters I didn't know were going to be in this.
Yeah, so we got Elektra coming by to start this vehicle, which, hey, good on you, Honda, for designing this Honda Odyssey to survive this entire thing. But anyway, she drives it out of there, goes over to their lair, and she's the first person to walk in. And hey, it's Jennifer Garner. I fucking saw the original Elektra. I am leaning into this microphone, Betsy. I saw the original Elektra in the theater, and that is a movie that I should have walked out of. That was fucking awful.
That is the kind of movie where you knew in that moment it was terrible.
Yes.
But you didn't give up on it, even though your senses were screaming, please make it stop. And she's in.
I did not walk out of there because I was with a friend, and I think she would have had words with me if we did that.
She was really into it, and you were not.
I have no idea. I don't remember.
But she originally appeared in Daredevil, right?
Yes. Daredevil came first, and Elektra was in that movie.
See, my whole thing is I haven't seen either of them. And
You're not missing much.
I've said, Trent, maybe we're going to have to do Elektra for this. And every time I bring it up about doing it for the podcast, you get the same horrified, miserable look on your face. Like, you truly do not want to relive this. So when she shows up on screen, I, of course, grew up in the early 2000s. I still know about Elektra. I know exactly who she's supposed to be. And it never occurred to me as we are merging these universes that Elektra would fall under that umbrella. And like, again, talking about breaking the wall and being meta, she makes a Ben Affleck joke.
Yeah, she talks about, oh yeah, Daredevil is also dead. And she's like, oh, okay, whatever.
No big loss.
No big loss. Which, hey, they're very amicable and everything else. It's a funny joke for the people who know.
Yeah, who pay attention to too much pop culture. But the second person
oh my
who
fucking
walks
God.
in the room, Trent, you and I were literally bouncing in the seats, pointing at the screen.
I grabbed Betsy's leg and I could not believe what I was seeing. Wesley fucking Snipes is walking on screen.
As Blade.
As Blade.
Now, we've touched on Blade on this show before. We love Blade.
Blade is awesome.
It is cheesy and stupid in the same way that those early 2000 ones are. But it is different in its own way. Like, at that time especially, we didn't have black superheroes. Certainly not black vampires. Certainly not Wesley Snipes as all of those things.
In a whole lot of rated R movies.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
He was the only rated R Marvel property up to that point.
Until Logan.
Yeah. He was the one who did it first. He did it the most bloody. And we have touched on it for the last, I don't know how many years. They keep saying they're making Blade. Blade is coming back. Mahershala Ali, he's gonna be Blade. And it's in development hell. And we don't know if we're ever really gonna get Blade. And again, they call it out in this movie. He looks at the camera basically and says, I'm the only Blade, and there's never going to be another one. And Ryan Reynolds looks right at the camera.
Yep.
Because it's true. Of all of these characters, save Elektra, they have tried to do different versions. Elektra is a standalone, Wolverine is a standalone, Blade is a standalone until, save the teeny tiny cameo of a voice in a movie.
Right.
That is
when
all we've
Mahershala
gotten.
Ali has a little voice.
End credits cameo.
Yeah, in Eternals.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be coming eventually.
I don't know if we're ever getting Blade. Or if we are, Mahershala Ali is already in his 50s.
Right.
Like,
but
if
then
we're
again,
gonna get
how
it.
old is Wesley Snipes and he's doing all this shit?
How old is Hugh Jackman? So I could, I should just shut my mouth and see what happens. But for him to be in this movie, you and I lost our fucking minds.
I was so fucking surprised. I am so happy to say Wesley Snipes is Blade yet again. Betsy, this is not the first time Wesley Snipes has appeared as Blade in another property. Do you remember what else he was in as a little cameo?
Was he on What We Do in the Shadows?
Yes, he was. In the What We Do in the Shadows TV show in the first season. Season 1, he shows up at this vampire council along with fucking Tilda Swinton as the head vampire and a bunch of other people. Yeah, Wesley Snipes showed up in a Skype call for that show. Yeah.
But then the hits just keep on coming because one more person walks into the room and it is Channing Tatum as Gambit.
Yeah.
And I had forgotten, you looked this up. There had been talks. They had been working on a project that they were going to make a standalone Gambit movie starring Channing Tatum that never happened. And they reference it here. He says, I sometimes think I was born in the void because he has not existed in any other properties. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't hate him in this movie because he is doing this ridiculously intense Louisiana Cajun accent.
Yes. And I'm glad that they pointed it out here because it is just ridiculous. Like when they had Remy LeBeau in the Wolverine, the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie, Taylor Kitsch plays that guy, and he's only in like 2 or 3 scenes in that. So this character isn't really a part of anything. So you could have thrown anybody at this character and have it work. But just the fact that they took this little known thing that they were trying to produce and it just got stuck in development hell.
An unformed idea.
Yeah. And they put Channing Tatum in the suit and made him learn the accent, learn the lines, learn everything.
He is in the comic book, like what the fuck do you call that thing that he's got on his head? It's not a mask, but he has like the wavy hair. I don't know what that thing is.
I don't know.
On his head. but it is very distinct to that character where it's like covering his neck and his sides of his face, but the top of his hair is free so it can blow in the wind.
The only thing I know about Gambit is that he talks in a Cajun accent and he throws fucking cards. That's all I know about him.
But what was great about him in this movie is you got a taste of it. Like when he's throwing his cards, he's like, I deal the cards, and he charges them up and they go boom. And like one moment he's like looking at the camera and he goes, and boom, and everybody explodes around him.
Right.
It was just the right amount. Would a fully fleshed out 2-hour Gambit movie really work? Probably not.
No, because the character, there's nothing there.
No, which is also why Elektra probably didn't work. Which is why Blade is in development hell, because they already did it once and now you're trying to make it your own thing. But having them in this movie in just a taste, you get just a little bit of fan service. And they again, call it out, we get an ending. We get an ending is how they phrased it.
They got to do something.
They got to do something. And then, Wolverine and Deadpool fly off and they just like look at them and they're like, goodbye, goodbye.
Yeah, and there's one more that we've mentioned before. It is the X-23 gal. The kid from the Logan movie is all grown up now, and we have no idea what she as a character has done.
No, we don't know where she's been.
After that,
we don't know what she's been up to.
All she really did here was have the little fireside chat with Wolverine and say, you allowed me, you as this person, this entity, allowed me to have a life, along with a bunch of other kids that got saved along with me. You were never supposed to be the hero. You were never supposed to be my savior, but you were. And that means something to me. And I feel like the fact that they brought this kid back, I have no idea if she's done any other acting past the Logan movie or not, but the fact that she agreed to show up for this movie just means that, yes, these movies, and especially the Logan movie, do count and they do have some kind of resonance in the culture, because I knew exactly who that was as soon as she walked on screen.
Even if I had never watched Logan up to this point, I would have recognized who she is, because like you, I pay attention. Like I knew her face before I ever watched Logan. And as I keep saying, I've seen it once. I've seen it one time. But I knew exactly who she was when she walked on screen.
Because those moments in Logan really stayed with you. Like that ending still kind of sticks with me because it was that culmination of that one character's arc. And this is a completely different character. That person did not go through what this Wolverine did and blah, blah, blah.
It's a different guy.
Yes.
So we're going to let you get into a different headspace and enjoy a silly adventure because it's not the same guy.
Exactly. So we've been talking for about an hour now, and we've barely said anything about Deadpool, like the guy or all of the other Deadpools. So what did you think of his kind of arc here? Because I don't really remember a whole lot from number 2. I know he was able to go back in time or use his little device to go back in time and try to mend things. He brought his girlfriend back to life, but then she breaks up with him, and I don't get any of that.
So I like how they very quickly mention what happened at the end of the second one and then throw it out. Like we don't have to worry about what happened in that one.
It doesn't matter.
He had a little time device and he hopped around and he saved a bunch of lives for people who had died in the beginning of the movie. Now they're not dead, so we retconned the entirety of Deadpool 2, basically.
Yeah.
And then he quickly says, oh, but then I destroyed it. And normally the TVA would have a lot to say, but they went, yeah, you really did a lot. But that's not why you're here. And they move on.
Oh, yeah.
They just move on abruptly, and they introduce a MacGuffin, and they literally say, what in the MacGuffin is this? And there's like a small plot point, but basically the world is going to end, and Deadpool has to save it. But in his Deadpool way, he only cares about saving his group.
He's 9 people that actually like him.
Yeah, he is not in the world-saving business. That's his world.
Right.
And he can't do it by himself. So they say, well, the reason it happened is because Logan died in the way that he died in that movie. It causes waves. He is so important a figure. And Deadpool decides the only way to save his world is to replace Logan. So it's a completely silly premise, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But they do give Wade a little bit of an arc. And I know from the previous 2 movies, he's not a total asshole. He just doesn't know when to shut up sometimes.
Right.
Like, he actually feels internal strife and worry for other people, even if it's a small circle. He's not going to go above and beyond to save the entire planet, which somebody we haven't mentioned in this movie is Jon Favreau showing up again as Happy Hogan, interviewing Wade to be an Avenger.
Yeah, and the reason why he's there in the first place is because his girlfriend wanted him to basically live for more than just himself. Find something outside of yourself that you can be a part of and have that be a bigger part of your life.
Dream big, kid.
So he decides, okay, I'm going to go for an interview to become an Avenger with Happy Hogan, which is a great scene.
But of course it ends badly because he is not really what they're looking for. And again, It's that thing of, how do we welcome this character into the MCU? Because he can't be he can't be an Avenger.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. Where does he fit? Where does he belong? So there is this theme throughout of, we now have Deadpool in the MCU.
Yeah, we have this pile of characters over here that we just brought in.
But metaphorically and literally, what is his place? Where does he fit? How do we, the filmmakers, and how does Wade as Deadpool fit into this world?
Which I fully expect this is exactly what all of the writers locked in a room somewhere at Marvel, this is what all these writers are trying to figure out. How do they bring Blade into this world? Are there vampires in the MCU? Of course there are, but there haven't been any so far.
That's what they're telling me, though, by telling me Blade's in the MCU.
Seriously. So yes, bringing in all of these Fox properties, even though they are part of the Marvel universe, it is an impossible task to try to bring all of those guys in here as well and integrate them in with something that has already existed for 15 plus years.
Right. And the rest of the movie is just basically Ryan Reynolds as himself sometimes and as Deadpool other times, just saying out loud all of the things you've been thinking.
Just commenting on what is happening. Hey, this is kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to fight now. Hold on to your butts.
Fight you.
Yeah. That sort of thing. And at the end of the movie, even when he makes a decision to sacrifice himself, he can't just do it. He's like, I'm nervous. He has to be a goof about it. And then he can't do it himself. He still needs Wolverine to do it. When it comes down to the wire, it requires both of them. So it is interesting how they've tied it all together neatly. And at the end of the movie, he's trying to be a better person. He's trying to get his girl back and say, I did it for you. I know what I am and how I am, but I'm trying. So please let me demonstrate to you that I do care about the world, about other people, about you. You know, give me another shot.
And there are a couple of other moments here that they're not really saying it, but they're saying it. One of them in particular is a very short one, is at the end of the movie when they're having their shawarma, which is a great callback.
The Avengers discovered shawarma.
Deadpool asks Wolverine, so I'll see you around, huh? Which is really asking the question, you're really done after this, aren't you? Aren't you, Hugh Jackman?
We're going to make you do these movies till you're 90.
And yeah, this is him just saying, you know what? No, I'm done. I'm really done this time.
This was a one and done.
This is a favor for you, Ryan Reynolds. And I think because of what we said before, all these little connections where you could have these two characters really go at it and be a team. We've gone all the way up to that line, but we never really got it. And when Ryan Reynolds approached Hugh Jackman to pitch this entire thing to him, Hugh Jackman had thought about this concept in the past where these two characters really go well together. They're basically indestructible. They have all the weapons in the world and have them fight each other on the same team, but then they're against each other. It's a great, great idea that just never found a way to be on screen until now. How do you say no to a great idea like that? It's just been simmering there for 20 years.
But to follow up on your previous thought, now we did it. It's done.
It's done.
If you did this again, number one, it probably wouldn't have nearly the same magic.
Nope.
And number two, the shtick will get tired very quickly. I also wonder what it means for the future of Deadpool, because it took a long time for us to get to number 3. It took a long time to get to number 2.
Right. After Deadpool 1 made a fucking $1 billion.
The first Deadpool movie was like the number 1 highest grossing R-rated movie of all time until recently. It's really surprising that it has taken this long to do it. I'm kind of glad because they didn't just take the momentum and shove something out. They took their time with it. But it does beg the question, okay, we did this. Now what? Are we going to get more Deadpool? Are we going to move on? How do we play with the character? Because it kind of feels like they did everything they wanted to do. And at the end of this, we even found a way to shove a shitload of variant Deadpools in this movie.
Right.
And I did want to make sure we talked about this because first of all, one of them is Blake Lively, his wife.
Of course. Lady Deadpool is his actual wife.
One of them is Nathan Fillion. One of them is Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
But they're all just voices.
They're just voices. Who the hell knows if they're actually in the suit or not? I doubt it. I'm sure Blake Lively was actually her.
She was at least on set in some capacity versus the other two.
Right.
This was a scene where all of your stupid fantasies, like that sequence in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, it happens a couple times. All the variations of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You get all the variations of Deadpool. And I'm very much looking forward to Halloween when we see like Cowboy Deadpool and the woman Deadpool. What did they call her?
Lady Deadpool.
Lady Pool. They called her Lady Pool.
Lady Pool, yes.
And she had the big ponytail. Baby Pool. They had a whole lot of these things. They're very silly. It was an amusing fight. They all regenerate because none of them can die.
Which I know you noticed the little cameo there on the bus that they're fighting in. There's an ad on the bus for Stanley Sweepers, as in Stan Lee.
Yeah, it's almost blink and you'll miss it because there's so much going on the screen that if you're looking at the fight, you're not going to see his face scroll by the bottom.
Excuse me, not Sweepers, Steamers. Stanley Steamer, which is a real product.
It is.
Yeah, but it's Stan Lee Steamers.
Did they manage to also shove some product placement in the posthumous Stanley cameo?
I don't know if that is really paid for by the good people at the Stanley Steamer Company, but there's a lot of other product placement in here as well. Namely, right before the movie where they do the fucking ad about there's a beer. I don't remember the beer.
Heineken. Wasn't it a Heineken?
Heineken was maybe in there, but they had like adamantium limited edition cans. But at the end of the ad, they say, "This is not real. Please don't sue us.
Yeah,
We're not putting out adamantium cans of beer."
I've seen that ad going around.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. But Trent, we still haven't mentioned one sequence in this movie that I really want to bring up, because not only do we get variants of Deadpool, we get variants of Wolverine. As he is hopping from universe to universe, timeline to timeline, we get
doing the montage.
We get a montage. And first, I love that they found a way to include Short King Wolverine.
I don't know what that's from.
Wolverine is short. Canonically, he is a short man. That is why he is called that, because he is this stocky, angry little dude. People always joke about how if they were really doing it right in the 90s, they would have cast Danny DeVito as Wolverine, because it is technically more accurate than Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
But you get him. You get this like one-handed hairy beast Wolverine. You get an eye patch wearing suave James Bond type. You get a whole bunch more thrown in that we don't really spend a whole lot of time in, but it feels like Hugh Jackman just got to have a blast like one day at a time in several different costumes. But not only Hugh Jackman, but fucking Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill as Wolverine.
What?
Why? Why is he in this? I don't know. But there is this sick humor that I'm enjoying of the multiple people, even just in this movie alone, who have played now multiple superheroes.
Right. Yeah. And
how that keeps happening.
Henry Cavill isn't Superman anymore, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah. So now he's been Superman and Wolverine. Ryan Reynolds has been both Deadpool and the Green Lantern.
Yep.
Chris Evans has been both Captain America and the Human Torch.
And this is the only place where you could make those jokes and have those references.
And have them be amusing to the audience.
And you had to do it before you recast the next Johnny Storm and whatever the next thing is. So yes, this is the perfect time. This is the perfect movie for this kind of nonsense.
And closure on so many things.
Absolutely. So with that, I think we need to start closing this episode out, Betsy, because holy shit, we're going long. But I know you got other stuff you got to talk about.
I'm obsessed with the needle drops. For the second time in 2-3 months,
yes.
We got Avril Lavigne randomly in a movie. We got the Goo Goo Dolls singing, and I don't want the world. We don't have the budget for this, so I'm going to stop singing.
Fucking Madonna?
Madonna.
Okay.
That song's going to be in my head for weeks.
I am almost 40. I keep on saying that in almost like every other episode I mentioned I'm turning 40 in October. I'm almost 40, and I have gotten... I have a newly found appreciation for 90s and early 2000s Madonna that I haven't had for a very, very long time since this music was brand new. And yeah, I really liked the treatment here.
Yeah, I don't know why some of these songs work so well in this movie. If it's just that antithetical to the thing that's going on here.
Well, like the fucking Grease song while they're fighting in the car.
I forgot about Grease.
Yeah.
I've got chills. They're multiplying. Yeah, and Like a Prayer is playing when they take down the bad guy at the end of the movie, and
it fits.
It fits. It doesn't make sense, but it works. And
maybe it's just because this stuff was very popular when we were, teenagers, like Avril Lavigne. That was a great choice, even though it doesn't fit. She's another Canadian, so maybe that's part of it.
Maybe. I don't know. I loved it.
It's just fits.
So stupid and silly.
It made me feel so happy. Yeah, the music in this is great. Anything else?
No, I'm going to stop myself because, again, if you haven't watched this movie already, none of this is even going to make any sense to you. But
we already warned you.
We did warn you.
If you haven't watched this movie, what the fuck are you doing listening to us? But maybe
thank you.
You just like to listen to our voices, I guess, and whatever. For me, I only had a couple of little things. One, when he goes in this big TVA viewing room where they have all the screens, basically this is Deadpool's real introduction to the MCU, because this whole thing is from the Loki series, which is a part of the MCU. And in this conversation between him and the Paradox, basically Deadpool is realizing, oh, I can finally matter. All this other shit that I've been doing over here with Fox, none of that stuff actually matters because it's only in this universe over here. Now, the stuff I'm doing is affecting a whole wide universe of other films.
And there's sort of a line of dialogue here that basically translates to Deadpool must join the MCU or die.
He must join the MCU to save the MCU, because he also says, hey, welcome to the MCU. You're kind of joining at a low point. When Wolverine comes, when he drags his drunk ass into this room, yeah, he says, yeah, you're in the MCU now. We're at a low point in the MCU, which is true. It's just true.
He also says he's Marvel Jesus, which we'll see what the box office says, because he very well might be the Messiah of the MCU.
He might actually save this whole thing because, god damn, this other stuff just has not been good.
And we don't know when we're getting another one. You were reading an interesting stat before we sat down to watch the movie, how this is the only Marvel property in the cinematic universe being released in 2024.
Yeah, because we were supposed to have the Blade movie. We're also supposed to have the Captain America movie, but those aren't coming out till next year.
They got pushed. So Captain America, that'll be the next one. And then probably the Fantastic Four movie somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Because they're filming that right now.
And they're redoing all of the fucking Kang storyline because Kang is no longer going to be a threat, or at least not in the same way that they thought. It's a big fucking mess.
There's been some problems with the MCU, and it's just a good time for them to hit the brakes. Let Deadpool go and dance and sing and make you $1 billion.
Yeah, let Deadpool make you a whole bunch of money. It'll buy you some time to get this other shit right. You have to get this stuff right, because if one of them really shits the bed that matters, if you come out and you have a fucking Avengers movie and it doesn't tie everything together like it should, you're fucked. You're not going to get to make any other movies.
And it begs the question right now for where we are. What Avengers are going to be in it? Because we haven't had this Anthony Mackie Captain America movie yet.
Right.
So it's called Brave New World, and we'll see how brave it is.
Right. Well, we're also going to get the fucking Thunderbolt movie as well.
Yep.
We've already talked about.
We still got to set up some dominoes, basically.
Yeah, we've talked before in one of our other Marvel movie episodes about the Young Avengers. They've been putting all these pieces together with all these young people having their own fucking things, and now that's going to be the new Avengers. It's gotta be, because Deadpool is not an Avenger. He's just not. He's not going to be, because he doesn't fit in a PG-13 world.
No, he exists in the universe, and you just have to let it be at that.
Yeah, he's doing his thing over here. Just acknowledge that he's there. We'll bring him out every so often, which, by the way, should we just ask the question here? Is there going to be another Deadpool movie? Because Ryan Reynolds, again, he's also getting up there in age.
I am of the opinion at this point, probably not. If there is one more, he may have one more left in him, but this one is such a moment that I don't know how you top it. I don't know where you go from here. Like, this is definitely a step up from 2. Is it possible they will try to tie him in just a teeny tiny way when we get to the new Avengers stuff or some of the other Marvel stuff? Maybe.
Or
maybe he'll have like a little cameo.
Or if they start making other X-Men movies. That's really all I can think of, because they barely go outside of the X-Men universe in this movie, and they have the ability to do whatever they want. They even have the fucking thing on screen of Thor holding a dying Deadpool.
Which we didn't even talk about, because it's just like, they just say, don't look at that. That's the future.
No, don't look at that.
Yeah. So what are we supposed to take away from that? Is it just a joke? Is it actually something they're going to try to do? We don't know.
Maybe the next time they do a Thor movie,
Thor's coming back.
Yep, Deadpool is going to come back. He's going to be injured horribly, and Thor is going to whisk him away into Valhalla.
I don't know, but I would, however, love to see Deadpool with Thor, because if you think,
oh my God,
if you think he's funny with Wolverine, like,
get him with Taika Waititi in one of his movies. Fuck me. All right, I have to end this because my voice is already going. If you, dear listener, would like to tell us what you thought of this movie, email us, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. I'm going to forego reading any emails today, but Betsy, you have something that kind of ties into what we just watched here from Blake, you said?
Yes. If you don't want to send us an email, you can also message us on any of our social media, which is exactly what Blake did after we posted our episode about Furiosa.
Yeah, a reference that they made in this movie somehow. Yes. What the hell?
They referenced Mad Max, and we were just talking about Chris Hemsworth, so it's time.
There you go.
So here's what Blake said about Furiosa. Furiosa is an amalgamation of the OG Mad Max trilogy and Fury Road. It has the pacing, chase aspect of Fury Road, while going into more detail about the world that the trilogy gives you. The first Mad Max takes place during the final days of civilization ending, where the law doesn't matter much and society is breaking down. Road Warrior and Thunderdome are basically the world has gone mad, and this is the result energy.
And by the way, if you did not know, Betsy and I are in the middle of the original Mad Max trilogy over on our Patreon.
Yeah, at the time we got this message, we had not seen any of the Mad Max movies. At the time we watched Furiosa, we had not. We have now seen 2.
We have now seen 2. Episode 2 comes out in August. So go over there if you want to hear our thoughts about the original Mad Max trilogy. But Betsy, please continue.
Yeah, coming back to Furiosa, he said, I really liked Furiosa. As I said, it's a great combination of the original trilogy and Fury Road. It still feels like one big gigantic chase sequence, albeit broken up, while also getting some lore. It's obviously not as streamlined as Fury Road, but it still has the breathless feel to it. Not going to defend the VFX, but for me, it worked well for this story, which to me felt more cartoony than Fury Road.
Yep.
It felt more like the movies that Mad Max inspired, the cheap knockoffs, and I really liked that. Also really glad Hemsworth didn't go super loony. I felt it was the perfect amount. I think it would have been too easy to try and out-loony the loony movie he was in. So for me, I think he's just right. The biggest challenge the movie presented is what you guys said early on. Where do you put your expectations when Fury Road is arguably the greatest action movie ever made?
Yeah.
And I just had to convince myself it wasn't going to be that.
Yeah, and going into that, I knew it was never going to live up to the hype of Fury Road. And I knew that. And
But
it's fine.
It's the only basis we had at that time.
Exactly. So if I had already seen the original trilogy, and of course we haven't seen the third one yet, so that might just completely ruin it by the time we get to it. But if I had that little bit of a nugget of what this world was, I might have had a different result. But because Fury Road was such an amazing accomplishment, you can't not be disappointed by its follow-up.
Yeah. I also think that once we finish watching the trilogy, the original trilogy, if we go back and revisit Furiosa, we'll see if we feel differently about it.
Maybe.
I don't know. But thank you, Blake, for those kind words about that movie.
Yes, thank you. Again, if you would like to tell us your thoughts about any of the movies we have covered, it doesn't have to be anything recent. We have over 300 episodes out there for you to go and peruse. If I remember right, our friend Mitch from Saskatoon listened to episode 2 recently and sent us his thoughts about that. So again, you can message us about anything that we have already covered or even any movie you've watched recently. Tell us your thoughts, give us your suggestions, or if you don't want to talk about what you've done, tell us what you want us to talk about. Give us a topic. I love to be given topics of just conversation. In fact, Betsy and I have our own other show on Patreon called The Conversation Pit that we talk about things other than movies.
Yeah, it's just whatever comes to mind. If you like the sound of our voices.
Well, it's not just our voices.
And you like our opinions about many topics.
Or we just are telling stories about ourselves.
Yeah. Learn more about us.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/neverseenitpod.
What Betsy said. So with that, I think it is time to end this episode. Betsy, thank you again for going to the movies with me. Next week, however, we are going to be doing a filler episode, let's call it.
We've got one more random movie before we do another series.
Yeah, we are starting a brand new series in the middle of August, and by the time we get there, you'll understand why we're doing it. But next week, we're going to be covering a Tarantino movie that I have never seen.
Yeah, we recently did a movie that he wrote.
Kind of.
Kind of.
He did the story.
He did the story. But anyway, it inspired us to go back and cover one that we have had on the list for a really, really long time. So we're finally going to watch it because you've never seen it.
Yeah, we're going to watch and cover Jackie Brown.
Going back to the 90s.
Back to the 90s, Tarantino. Jackie Brown is going to be up next. So come back next week for that. But until then, this has been another episode of Never Seen It. My name is Trent.
My name is Betsy.
We'll catch you later.
Bye.